Frogger.
Games ever. I'm looking at my next thing is going to be Cyberball.
Cyberball? Is that
remember
like...
that?
I remember Techno Ball.
I remember that.
Nope. Cyberball, you remember, is the
There's a robot,
7
right?
robot one.
Yep.
You can sit 2 to a side, so before, and you play with these robots, and the harder you hit the robot, like they start sparking, but if you hit them real hard, boom, they explode.
Oh, yeah.
You remember it.
I remember it. Yeah.
So I told her about it.
And he knows.
What do I know?
Oh, that Gertrude was right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Glass
I know.
here.
Hello, Gertrude. Hello, Gertrude.
That's a version of it. I got a couple
Joe?
versions. Move the joystick. No, it's always been that way.
Yeah,
I
Joe.
couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't played this since I was like 6. Give me a break.
What's she
I
playing?
know, that's like
Frogger.
Frogger.
every time
Yeah.
we get on the games, I'm like, oh yeah, now
I
I,
think there's
remember this
I
game.
think there's
I
a
don't remember
movie
what we're supposed
Frogger.
to do.
Is there?
I think so.
Maybe a cartoon.
No,
No, get rid of her.
No, not a good movie.
Oh.
Like a horror movie.
Speaking of which, but we'll get to that in a
Yeah,
second.
we'll
While we're fresh about it, let's talk about Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
I'll give you a glass here. First off, we got a couple weird.
Cool.
Nice.
Jeez, this thing, it took off
You
on
haven't
me.
even had a drink yet.
It just took off. Did the house tilt?
We've got it. Yes, it did. It's tilting at Woodmill. We've got a couple weird drinks here this time. Stuff we haven't tried before. Earl, what did you bring? You brought. What is this?
Diplomatico.
Diplomatico rum. It's got a lovely old gentleman on the front of it. Ron Antigu. I don't know. Can't pronounce shit. Antigua, thank you. Good, you can help me pronounce this one then. I bought some mezcal. Now, what's this called again? What's this? She's busy playing Frogger.
Right.
She can't be bothered. Las
Vencinos.
Vencinos. It's
That's
from
from Oaxaca.
Oaxaca, Mexico. Now, the reason I picked this up is because Amber and I love Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix.
Called what?
Somebody Feed Phil. It's Phil Rosenthal. He was the producer and writer for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
He's a comedy writer. And he goes to has this food show on Netflix where he goes and eats in different countries and shit. And he was in Oaxaca, and he drank mezcal. I'm like, what's that? So I figured I'd give it a shot.
It's a tequila?
It's kind of, I think from what I gathered, it's an
smoky-
agave.
It's a smoky guave. So
Guave, yeah.
basically, it's the Latino version of Scotch.
Okay, well, Jay, what are you drinking over there?
I just got basic Four Roses, pretty common.
Four Roses? I've never heard of it.
Oh,
That's pretty
Four
common.
Roses bourbon.
Yep.
So Jeff, yes, Jeff wasn't sure if he was going to show up tonight. So we went, and sure enough, we saw his unmistakable Jeep there with its big teeth and its blue wheels. And so, well, Jeff must be here somewhere. So you were there ahead of us. We were wasting time getting popcorn, and we missed pretty much all the previews. So what was in the previews?
There's I don't know how many.
Intentionally, by the way. We intentionally.
On average, I expect between 3, maybe 5. There had to be 12, 13 previews.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about post-COVID pushing everything out at once type of, and there were some movies in there that looked phenomenal that are coming out. One of them, I can't think of the guy's name, but wish you guys were in there. What was? Well, I mean, no, I'm not talking about the obvious ones like Jurassic Park. I'm talking about some I didn't even know were coming out that look real good. So if you're going to see any movie, just expect almost a half hour worth of previews.
So what
Did it happen to you too?
Not at when we saw Top Gun last Friday. There's only about 15 minutes of previews. But I went and saw Doctor Strange 2 yesterday. Literally 30 minutes.
Yeah, there was
of
like
previews.
30, yeah.
30.
Yeah, I
At one
timed it.
point,
It
I
was
leaned it-
23 minutes today.
At one point, I leaned in and said, "Did we buy tickets to see previews? Because that's all I'm watching right now. Not a laugh in the room, so I got to work on my jokes." But
No. We understand the pain. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Did you see the Jordan Peele one?
no,
Sci-fi Jordan Peele one?
no.
Horror?
uh-uh.
Called Nope.
No, I didn't
No,
see
I
it.
did see that. I saw
That looks
teaser
like
for that
a
while
movie
back.
that
It
I
does.
want to see.
Yeah.
Nope.
It looks good.
I've seen,
Nope.
I've seen the previews for that, and it does. It looks really good.
That was on this one.
I saw that on YouTube a while back, and I just laughed my ass off at the name of it. Just nope.
But no, it looks campily good.
I'm
but
glad that there's good-looking movies getting ready to come out because I was kind of worried there.
The
for a
Blumhouse
bit.
horror movies are
It wasn't Vengeance. was it?
fantastic. All of them so far have been just amazing. The weird one with what's his name? They did Freaky Friday, but they just called it Freaky, and it's with Owen Wilson and the other guy. Who's the other guy from Wedding Crashers? Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn.
He and this little girl do a body swip, but it's
Oh
a
yeah, okay.
serial killer.
Now I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
or
that was actually pretty funny.
we
Yeah.
rewatched The Invisible Man the other night. What else? There's been a bunch of these Blumhouse ones that just like Get Out and Them or whatever they called it. they've just been doing really good with the horror movies lately. Well, we just got back from seeing Top Gun Maverick. And,
Ashton Kutcher.
no, with
No.
Tom Cruise.
Oh, it is called Vengeance.
It's called Vengeance.
Look up, yeah, if you want to see that real quick.
But we'll get to that in a second. I think when we freshen our minds, we should hit this Top Gun thing a little bit.
Stay on task.
Stay on topic. Stay on target. So
Which is funny because I just want to hijack this show right now.
I know you do, and I want to say two things. I just want to say two things right off the bat, and then we'll go around and get into deeper stuff. But I would have signed up for Scientology if he had walked into that diner and said, "Where am I?" and the kid looked up at him and said, "1986."
That was a great
That was a
movie.
great scene.
Yes, that was a great scene.
Secondly, the other thing I want to point out before we get too far is the scene where he first walks into the bar. This is Tom Cruise as Maverick, walks into the bar called the Hard Deck, by the way, which I thought was interesting. Penny Benjamin, which is the Admiral daughter joke in the first film.
Yep.
But what took me right out of it was while they were having that first conversation, what was playing on the jukebox? David Bowie, Let's Dance.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that caught my ear is because, first off, that's what they were doing, that dance of, dating dance shit. They were having that banter conversation. But in 1986, when Top Gun came out, Jennifer Connelly was starring in Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Good
And then I did the math in my head and went, oh, she's underage.
Good catch.
And then she tells the story later about it. You took me up in that plane, that was taking a swing at Penny Benjamin, which is the joke in the film.
Yeah.
And then I realized, what was she, 15? No wonder you got in trouble.
Well, there's a few timeline things about that. Like
Yeah.
And plus, she's playing an older character. And I'll say this, Jennifer looks great.
Here's the thing about Jennifer Connelly is I never recognize her in any movie. She's like a chameleon. Like,
Really?
Yeah, to me,
I
she
see her
always
really
looks
bad.
different
How do you
in
not
every.
recognize
I'm with you.
those
She looks different to me in every
I can
movie.
point her out in a crowd.
Oh, I could not.
Those
From
are
like
some
15 years old to now.
But
very specific movies.
Especially opportunity, or career opportunity.
Yes, career
Yeah.
opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So I know where we're going, but I love that there was one scene, but I feel they missed a good line in it.
There's a couple good lines they missed.
Yeah.
One of them, probably the biggest one for me, and we'll get to it later, but I'm just going to bring it up now. When they both crashed, or they both got shot down, and they were both like, I don't think, you told me not to think, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then he
that
goes, well, what's the
argument.
plan now? Maverick should have said, I don't know, but I do got to think about it.
Yeah.
That would have been that would have been a great line.
There was a couple of moments what I wish I could have heard is just a walk in the park Kazansky. Like when they were sometime during the mission, or when they're taking off, it's just a walk in the park Kazansky and takes off.
Or it could have been right there, and you don't need to have the Kazansky part. It's just a walk in the park. It's a walk in the forest. Or
I
whatever.
wish I could have heard though was some comment about him having a twin or a younger brother in the JAG Corps
Oh,
that goes by his mom's maiden name or something,
That would've been
or has a
great.
different dad.
That would have been
Like,
great.
yeah, I got a younger brother in the JAG Corps, just to make a crack about a few good men.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a funny joke too.
I did enjoy how they managed to incorporate literally the previous movie into this movie, and then pushing forward and all that stuff. I do like that.
It's different, very, very planty. Very
What country other than us had F-14s?
well. We sold all the old F-14s.
To who?
That's why. Well,
Well, I think that's
No, they had them before we got rid of them. By
that's
the way,
like yeah, that's
There is one country.
Yeah.
So
There's only one.
There's only one, and it's an Eastern Bloc country now.
it was Iran.
Is that Iran?
Iran,
Okay.
and we ended up sabotaging them when the people were like, Iran's getting crazy, so they sabotaged some stuff so that they couldn't fire certain whatnots when they all got out.
like flares or something.
Missiles, certain missiles.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
No, I knew that. Yeah.
Well, even
I didn't know what plane it was, but
Yeah,
in the first movie, which I've got playing in the background here, in the first movie, they never actually identify the enemy, but they do refer to the MiG, which of course is the only MiGs are Eastern Bloc or
Correct.
Middle Eastern sometimes. So it was pretty obvious with the Red Star. It was USSR at the time. That was Cold War. We could get away with saying stuff like that. But they purposely went out of their way to avoid mentioning who this was in this film. Just the dark bad guy. They didn't know where they were.
I do know that he kept the Taiwanese patch on his jacket this time.
China said they
And
won't show the film for that reason.
Correct. And I thought, good. Finally.
Yeah.
That was, I think, a good move to show everybody, like, look, I don't give a crap about
Well, plus it's a chance. Hollywood relies so much on the China market.
Yeah, they
for a
want to.
lot, especially with Marvel films and the monster movies and all that stuff. They're huge. Fuck them. I don't.
They allow China to dictate
Yeah.
a good movie just because they don't agree with something. It's like, I don't agree with a lot of shit, and I
We
still
shouldn't
go
be doing
watch it.
business with them at all.
I'm on, yeah.
It's kind of hard not to.
When they said that we're not going to show up because of the Taiwanese patch, I think it was Tom Cruise that said, then I don't care.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
It was somebody definitely. That's pretty good, because that's a great movie that we just saw.
Yeah.
I thought it was, I liked it. It was one
I
of
don't
my
know about
favorites.
great.
Yeah, I would say
But
great.
I know.
good.
We'll get to that in a second. Now, Earl, here.
It's good.
They were scoffing the whole time.
Like,
Air
They were
Force.
it's
scoffing.
fucking Star
They-
Wars.
They were-
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars.
I looked right at him and I was like,
I have something to
I
say
saw
about
that
it.
too.
Hold it.
I looked right
I
at
want you to
Rob.
finish this. This is funny.
I looked right at Rob and was like, no wonder Earl likes this movie. It's fucking Star Wars. Like,
When I found out how they were going to do the target, I went like this. I'm not sitting.
I
I'm
said,
sitting-
but they had to make the box bigger.
yeah,
Use the Force, Luke. I was waiting for some comment about that.
yeah. It's called the Miracle 1 and 2.
I know. Yeah.
The Force was. Hold on. You cannot sit there and say you're right. There's a definite push for Star Wars. That little
As soon as
whatnot.
he talked about
But
the candy
it was
run,
still
I was like,
great.
it's the fucking trench run. Like, what the hell are we
No,
talking about here?
there's definitely some Star Wars-esque. I even told Claudia that.
The
as we were
writing
watching
on the
it.
cake was Miracles 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I kept thinking I used to shoot womp rats when I was.
He turned his targeting computer off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that happened too because the laser
He did.
malfunctioned.
Yeah.
Exact same thing happened.
I'm going blind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the way that thing went down the hole was exactly like it did
Yep.
with Death Star. Good lord. I will say though, I didn't think this one was as much fun.
What?
Well, the first one is so quotable. Now, granted, we were 10. when we
Yeah.
saw it. The first one is so quotable. Probably most of us in here. It's at least a small part of why we joined the service. It was part of that.
It is.
Because it was kind of an indoctrination. It was a recruiting tool. It really was. And even when they were making it, they knew that. Which is why the Navy was so involved.
Cheers.
So apparently the whatever that is a no-go.
With the mezcal?
Yeah.
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 Lost in, it's
Yeah,
no go.
it's
Really bad.
Which is
night.
too bad. But I'll still drink it. It's
You know what?
alcohol.
I bet you put that in a margarita though, it'd be alright.
Yes, I can
Probably
see
something
that.
sweet to kind of counter the. Yeah, I agree. In
Sorry.
fact, I might just put it in Coke, actually.
This is not too bad.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
editing's gonna be
Earl's
done.
getting mad. We must talk about Top Gun.
Earl, you're the only one of us who's seen it twice.
No. I get to save my comments for last.
Oh, wow.
I've
Oh, wow. He's got the head bob and everything.
I've gone.
You go, Karen.
I've gone.
He's just mad because they called it Star Wars.
No, I agree. It was total. It was a total trench.
What did you say that made me laugh so hard, though? It wasn't that. It was something
Not
else you
disagreeing
said.
with that.
I don't even remember.
Did you bring these?
Yeah.
I thought
Little
these were like
wieners.
pretzel sticks. Then I
No,
started
that's
really.
these right here. Those
There's
are the
little
pretzels.
Oh.
weenies.
Little beanies.
And then I brought.
That's what
these.
Haney
And
has.
then some of the other cheese.
Little weenus.
A little weenie.
You want me to open it?
Go ahead. That's why I
Okay.
brought it.
Oh, terrible, Jeff. Terrible.
I brought more snacks because I didn't think you were going to be here with the pizza.
I'm sorry. I didn't think I was gonna make it.
He always brings the pizza.
Now, Earl. Yes, Jay and I were a little snarky and making fun of Maverick a little bit. Now, we're not going to go into the plot line because, frankly, it's a rehash of the first one without as many quotable lines as far as I'm concerned.
As a matter of fact, I think they quoted the one line too many times.
Talk to me, Bob.
Goose.
Yeah,
Talk to
Talk
me,
to me,
Goose.
Bob was
Yeah.
what cracked me up. I'm like, oh, now it's going to be Talk to me, Bob.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed.
Yeah. Now, what did Bob stand for? Did we ever find out what it stood for?
No, but we all know it's probably back office.
bitch.
Yeah.
Because he's
yeah.
the Rio.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing Jay asked me. He's like, how come everybody didn't have a Rio? Like, well, not everybody in F-18 does.
Right.
They just had two Rios who
they're-
were running the radar.
But they're bringing back the Rio for the F-18s.
Really?
Yeah.
So those were the Super Hornets.
Correct.
And the Super Hornets have either a 1-seater or 2-seater. The 2-seaters are a lot more rare.
Yeah.
Typically,
I've
it's
only
the
seen the
one-seater
ones in
that-
person.
However,
Oh, I know what it was.
What?
Oh, they're getting an Iron Eagle the shit out of this. What's the line?
I didn't catch that, but you're
Oh
right.
my god!
Yeah.
He sits there and he kind of whispers in my ear like a little demon, like, you're gonna iron. So I drop my popcorn.
Oh, you said it?
Yeah, I said
Okay,
it to
I
him.
didn't
Oh
catch
my
it.
god!
Yeah.
that
Oh, they
would
said it in
have
the
been
movie.
that.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I swear to God, if they turn this into a science fiction time travel one when he landed out of that test plane, oh shit.
But anyways.
Where am I? Earth. But, Earl.
No.
Wait, no, we've all talked about it.
You always start with me, so this time I get to
Actually, I've already
have
talked.
the last say.
We've already...
Look, here's the thing.
Okay,
it was good. It wasn't great. It was good. The plot was... It was what it was. It did a lot of... To me, it was more like about Tom Cruise, and I like Tom Cruise. Forget all of his personal crazy Scientology shit.
Yeah.
As an actor and shit, he does things right. And what I thought the best part of the entire movie was the beginning when he thanked everybody for coming back. I thought that was great because you don't see.
You talking about the solo before the movie started?
Yeah. I thought that was a great homage because if you ever watch that crazy shit that he does, when he yelled at his cast for like during the first COVID, like wear your mask and all that shit, dude. That's right. That's a fucking leader right there. Like, he said it right there. Everybody's job here is depend on everybody else staying healthy type shit. He gets it. And, he wants people coming back to the theater. He wants everybody to come back and see these movies, these big budget. He does everything the F-18s. So the visual and the effects and all of that was worth the price of admission.
Oh, the visuals are cool.
The plot, like, it's good.
It's like they took new visual shots, and just put the old movie in it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
almost beat for beat.
And how they did Val Kilmer was good. I thought, like firsty types,
that one broke my heart.
And going back is like, us Hollywood comedians, we all made fun of Fat Val Kilmer until like it came out like he has throat cancer or whatever, well, now we all suck as a culture.
Yeah.
Making fun of Val Kilmer and then bring him back into this movie, and he had his final lines. I think they could have done a little bit better dialogue for his final lines. But I don't know how many words he could actually talk, or if that was even his voice type stuff.
Yeah.
So
I get the impression that it was. I get the impression that everything in this film, everything, was real. And if something was fake, it might have been the enemy aircraft. I feel like how would they replicate that? That would have to have been.
Well,
the Gen 5.
It's a real aircraft.
Yeah.
It was just not real in the movie.
In the movie, yeah. That's what I mean.
Yes.
Like they
but it
they
is
don't have those to fly.
almost what they expect out of that. Yeah. Anyways.
Right.
Now, some of the dogfight scenes in the training were funny. Like when he pop up out of nowhere. Like, how you doing?
what's going on?
I would encourage you. There is actually on YouTube a reveal party with one of the fighter pilot podcasts. I don't know if you've seen this, where it was 3 of the Top Gun instructors from past ages. One was an F-14 Top Gun instructor. One was an F-22, F-35, F-18 Top Gun instructor, and one was an F-18 Top Gun instructor. They watched this movie real time, and then immediately right after gave their critique. 90% of that footage that you saw was actual footage being flown. However, now when Tom Cruise first wanted to do this, he wanted to fly the F-18, and they maybe wouldn't let him.
No, he can't fly.
But 90% of the footage you see is real, actual cockpit footage.
Yeah.
This movie right here, not one.
Oh no, they're in front of the screen.
Yeah, not one iota.
The shots of the planes themselves are real, but they're not flying them. They're not in them.
Right.
Yeah.
So the maneuvering. So they were talking about some of these things that you guys were scoffing at. Some of the maneuvering and the trench run. And
We didn't scoff
You
at
scoffed.
the
I
actual
heard
maneuvering.
you
We
scoff.
scoffed as
At the storytelling.
yeah.
I heard you scoff. Anyways,
Iron Eagle is.
so even that trench run
That's
and,
a favorite
and the maneuvering that they were doing, those are actual real maneuvers that they actually the pilots were talking about. They actually have to practice on, to include shooting into a target like what they were doing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't look like the fucking Death Star. Yes, it was a tribute to Star Wars. Come
Look
on.
like it.
No, it was a tribute to Star Wars. Let's not mince words on that.
Hell, they even have a flying pattern that's called the
trench run, probably.
there's one, well, it's specifically a Star Wars trench run. I think that's in Europe, and then they got another one, the Death Valley Run or something like that. That's in the U.S. It's very similar.
But
Which
pulling the G's, pulling.
Oh,
Well,
look on his
well,
face.
okay,
You
well,
can see
okay.
the G's pulling his face
G's,
down.
so
my God.
the pilots were talking about overstressing when I was watching they were talking about it. Yeah, that's a little bit of Hollywood going up to 10. at least to these guys. However, they're saying they've pushed 7, 8, 9 Gs, and some of the action that you saw, they're actually clasping a certain button on that joystick that helps overstress and overshoot.
I was a little curious about the G thing. Is like in the beginning when he had his super secret plane he was testing.
Oh, the Dark Star?
Yeah. My question was like, where is he? Like, was he just flying straight that fast? Where would he be going that fast? Like in real world, like would he be like? They started out in California, and by the time he hit 10 Gs, he'll be in the Atlantic Ocean. Type thing. Because it seemed like, why is he going? Like how wide is that circle that he's flying?
States.
I just started thinking like.
That's why I was
I was like, where is he?
But that's the joke. Where am I?
Yeah.
No,
That's true.
you can't convince me that he survived that crash in the opening
Right.
scene. Like, it's bad enough he survived the F-18 crash. Spoilers. But that he survived that first one is insane.
So, true story about the Dark Star.
It's a real
They
planet.
actually had Skunkworks make it for them.
Mm-hmm.
They made it for this movie.
Oh, wow, really?
Everything about it was specifically designed by Skunkworks. They moved it out onto a flight pad, and they watched Chinese satellites immediately move to that location. And it's a true story.
True story.
They were so like, oh shit, it's in the open. They
Maybe.
and for a plane that was just a mock-up of what they pretended, but they literally had it built.
Well, it looks like
It
a
don't-
mini SR-71.
It's so true. The liberal media was reporting on it as well as conservative media.
Wow, that's funny. Liberal media.
Because the original was, did the military make a mistake? I think it's something in that area back before the Dark Star in the movie was even announced. There was a whole thing about, because it got reported, hey, the Chinese are moving their satellites to this location because they wheeled out Skunkworks at the Skunkworks facility, wheeled out the Dark Star and left it there on the pad. And they said it was awesome because they just watched these satellites turn and come right over to this thing. I thought it was funny as hell.
But anyways, so everything, the maneuvering, the tactics, that's all real shit.
Yeah.
It is real shit. So that's why I appreciate this movie. Now, was it the greatest movie in the world? No. But I walked in there and I walked out, and it's the second time I've seen it, and I still walked out with a smile on my face.
Oh yeah, I love the movie. I mean, it was
Enjoyable.
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely worth seeing
Even
in
with
the
the
theater,
scoffers.
I might add.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's some people I've heard talk about going to the 4DX
The
screenings.
IMAX.
Ooh,
Man.
that'd be-
Well, not even IMAX. 4DX is when they have like rumblers in the seat and fans that blow on you and water that squirts at you and shit.
Oh.
And during the afterburn scenes, they said that heat hit them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that'd be really cool. Now, we're in the volleyball scene here. The Top Gun's playing in the background, of course. And they, of course, recreated this scene with the crew playing, what was it,
Football.
dogfight football.
Dogfight football.
And I really could have done without that.
You gotta have
But,
something for the ladies.
well...
Well, so here's why this scene is just more famous than this. This is more of an homage to Kenny Loggins.
What, the new scene or this one?
The new scene.
Okay.
So if you don't know how Kenny Loggins and back in the 80s, you had one person compete for the entire score of the movie.
Yes.
And Kenny Loggins, he's sitting there and they're like, you got to compete for this movie. You just did whatever, da-da-da. And he got the movie and, you watch the fighter sing. He's like, oh, I need this. So he started writing songs, and everybody that he was competing against all wrote a song for that opening scene, that first, when you see the jets going and them flying. He's like, he won that because he's the only person that wrote a song just for the volleyball scene.
Ugh.
The volleyball scene song is how he got that whole score.
Got to write Danger Zone after that.
Because nobody else could write a song like that for that scene.
I'll tell
And
you
I'm
what.
like, yeah.
After today's, I realized I got to start doing sit-ups. Stop,
Right?
stop eating Cheez-Its.
Oh my god. It's,
Every girl in my freshman dorms in 1995 would all still watch this movie just so we can see Slider's abs.
They are impressive. I would like to have seen a couple other cameos.
He's not gonna
I know
give
some
you
of those
any.
actors are still alive.
Now, Tom Cruise's hangar. One, I know that's his Mustang. That's his Mustang.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it, what are those, P-38s?
And it's a dual-seater.
Yep.
And he took
Beautiful
up Kellyanne, or he took up, what's her name?
He did too. He took up James Corden.
Well, that was recently.
Yeah,
But he
that
took
was a
up-
funny show.
He took up what's her name that plays Penny. Jennifer, thank you.
Connelly, Yeah.
Because she was terrified of flying. He's like, all right, well, let's go. Took her up on his P-51. I wonder.
what it
I
is.
think some of those motorcycles are his. I'm curious about the main, and I think it made me wonder how, because he's the type that he's just like, let's just put my stuff in here.
Yeah.
We don't need to borrow anybody's shit.
I love the Can't Drive 55 sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you
That
notice
cracked
in the
me up.
did you notice when he went to guns, it said missiles guns from the original movie.
He repeated all the dialogue from
Yeah.
the first movie.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm just
Go with
talking.
the guns.
I'm talking the
The lever.
the lever had,
Yeah.
because they don't have it in these ones. They just
No.
had it for the first movie in this one. So there's a little throwbacks.
But we were talking when the 5th gen fighter did its maneuvering. That is an actual.
Holy shit, that thing turned on a dime.
5th gen,
Yeah.
Those F-22 pilots will be able to do that. So any 5th gen aircraft can do that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever seen that. That was
Damn.
I mean, I've
Was that
watched,
cool?
I've watched
Now-
air shows doing it.
yeah.
I've
It
seen
can be done.
I've seen an 18 fly in person, and I've always been impressed. The thing that I like about the 18 is also the thing I don't like about the 18. Is it's got so many moving parts. Like any little thing goes wrong, and that thing's fucked. Because it's got little ailerons and movements and switches and fucking shit moving. But they can also gate climb. I remember we were at
Dirty little bitch.
we were paying,
is what it is.
yeah, we were sitting there watching the F-15s, and then some Canadian F-18s were there, and they were competing, doing gate climbs. And the 15, that lumbering bastard, the 15 would cruise along, and that's a cool bird,
Yeah.
but it would hit the brakes and hit the gas and go up in the air and kind of struggle, to get up in the vertical climb. And then here comes the 18s. Canadians are like, hold my beer. 18 does this 90-degree wham! It's straight up in the air. Like, holy crap!
So when we were down just before I retired, I got to go down and do the. We were driving Humvees. We were being marked for air, and helicopters were.
Yeah.
And because you're right there by Top Gun. You're
Yep.
at where the new Top Gun is. It's nowhere near water, and you can look way up there and start watching them dogfight. And I mean, they're way the fuck up there. And you're just doing all these weird. And you're like, they're so fucking close. It's to the point where you can't even tell who's who. And they're doing all these little somersaults and all this stuff. And we're like, what the
You
fuck?
can see some of that stuff at Nellis, too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Very cool.
but even watching the 5th gen fucking do a gate. But that fucking braking maneuver that they do.
The Cobra?
Yeah, because they talk about the Cobra on the F-8 pilots that were doing that watch through. They were saying, yeah, that Cobra maneuver is an actual tactical maneuver that we practice. But he says when you do it on a 5th gen fighter, it is so unreal. It looks awkward, yeah. But yet, you're flying through, and this thing is just... And it's
Yeah.
just
When I first saw the 22, the F-22,
yeah.
we were on our way to Guitar, and we were at was it Nevada?
Yeah.
And I looked up, and here comes two, and they all their movements are so precise. There's nothing smooth about it. They're just sharp, and they make these weird things. And you're like, that is fucking awkward looking to watch.
And
those
do you know the
things
best
fly.
thing about an F-22?
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yes, I've heard that.
Mhm.
I have not seen one in person, but I've definitely heard that.
Yeah,
The weirdest aircraft I've seen fly is the U-2.
I've seen it
The
too.
U-2 is strange because it is so long, and it's practically flapping like a bird. Like
Literally.
the wings are just flapping. And when it turns in the air, it lumbers. It turns really slow, like it's going to fall out of the sky. And you're like, how is that thing in the air?
So
no, C5. Why is that? thing-
C5 does that.
So when I was in, I went to the other end of the runway to watch the British U-2 take off. I could hear it. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. I'm like, where the hell's this plane?
Yeah.
And they go, it's there. And we looked up, and it seems like 10 feet of runway. And it goes almost straight up. It goes just up, up, and up, and up, and up. And you're like, that thing is probably a mile up by the time I spotted it. And it had just left the runway. And it's not a fast plane. It
No.
just climbs.
Yeah, it
Yeah, the
does.
fucking B-1 Lancer fucking sounds like a fucking rocket ship.
Yeah,
just fucking
yeah,
going
yeah,
through
yeah.
it.
What did they call it back in the 60s? Race car when they were testing it? Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in that. He was like the radar operator, which is why he defected to Russia and they wanted him. He had all
Are you talking about the U-2?
Yeah, I think it was the U-2 or the precursor.
I thought it was
It's called the Dragon Lady.
I thought it was race car, but I could be wrong. It's
Boxcar is what I
Oh,
recognize.
see, yeah, there's so much
I don't know.
misinformation out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of who knows.
But
But Top Gun, great movie.
Yeah.
you know what? I have to say though, I don't think it was great.
I
really
did.
don't think it was great.
Based on the stuff that's been coming out and the
Yes.
desperation to get into the theater, I'm glad this was
Yeah.
there for because I've been just
And they
so.
delayed it.
This is a perfect example of. This is why you guys got to stop doing CGI.
Oh yeah,
This was, I mean, granted, like I said, the Gen 5s were definitely CGI, but the 18s were real.
oh yeah.
And holy shit, some of those shots. And another thing I really loved was toward the end when they fly the 14.
Yeah.
Those camera angles of that 14, they mounted the cameras in exactly the same spots they did in the first one.
It was good.
It wasn't a rehash of the same footage because it would have been grainy. We didn't notice, but it was the same camera angles, totally the same. Oh, that was hilarious.
It was a good movie.
Now, who's the kid that played Goose's son?
Rooster.
Rooster, yeah.
I have no idea. None of those
When-
actors are.
I caught his name at the end, but I don't know.
No, he's
that
been
well.
in some movies I've seen.
He has.
It's like Miles.
But when he
something or
walked
something.
into the bar, I heard Jay go, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Because he looked like a dead ringer for Goose.
Absolutely.
Like that kid could totally be Anthony Edwards' kid.
Yeah.
Hair and all.
Oh my
His
gosh,
hair
it's
up and
amazing.
everything. Oh yeah.
It was a cute little homage with the
His name is
Great Balls-
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. Great little homage with the Great Balls of Fire. That was cute.
What I liked was when they played the retro music. It wasn't overly loud. It was just like a distant
Subtle.
out there.
Well, the aircraft noise was the prominent noise, and then the music was kind of in the background.
Switch.
Of that.
For all of it, for
Yeah.
like when they play that, a lot of the music I was expecting. They didn't waste a lot of time in the beginning with the.
And their song choices were great.
Yeah, it was real.
I love this song. So he purposely pulls the cord to the jukebox and starts playing something else.
As far as the Val Kilmer thing, you realize that voice was a synthetic voice that.
He got a box?
No.
Oh.
It is actually a synthetic voice. So when they asked him to come and do this, he helped develop that. There's actually a documentary.
Amber watched it. I haven't watched it yet.
And that starts talking about his synthetic voice. That
Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking. Val, I forget how many movies and how many things he did that I love so much.
your Huckleberry.
Yeah. Like Tombstone, even
For me-
Batman. He was
For
great.
me, it goes back to
Real Genius.
Real Genius.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always my
Yeah.
Top
always-
Secret for
Top
me.
Secret.
Top Secret,
was another one.
Yeah. Nothing better than a cow and rubber boots.
Because that's
Real
kinda,
Genius was
that's how he
awesome.
started, and then all of a sudden he's like this dramatic actor, and he kind of did everything.
Well,
but
Top
he
Gun
never
kind of
went back
set
to.
that tone for him.
But he never went back to
Not
doing
really.
like.
Willow was
Yeah.
definitely.
Loved Will.
Yeah, but that's still back in the '80s and stuff. That's.
Speaking
I
of-
mean,
Speaking of Willow, it's
yeah,
The ads
I
look good.
I heard.
Looks good.
The ads
Really
look good. And they brought back what's her name, the gal who played it was his wife at one
Yeah.
point, Val's wife. She's in it. I was pretty impressed by that. Sam, what did you think of Top Gun?
I thought it was great.
Thank you.
and done.
There you go. No, I enjoyed it.
Anything in particular?
You guys have pretty much already touched on all of the parts, so.
Well, we're good at that. We're good at touching things.
No, it was the right amount
What's up, Spaz?
of comedy and suspense, and yeah, I thought it was great.
I did find myself being every once in a while. I'm sure Jay heard that. Every once in a while, I would be like, "Damn!" Like they do some maneuver or something that I'm like, "Oh, how the hell they pull that off?" You know. It's definitely. I will definitely buy it now. A couple of years ago, I picked up Top Gun in 3D on Blu-ray, and it actually is a lot of fun to watch in 3D.
Oh, like the Oculus 3D?
No, on my TV in
Oh,
there, just glasses, and it's fun. It's fun to watch in 3D. I haven't for a while because we watched it the other night on Paramount, which is what's on right now. Pardon.
Have
But-
any of you watched the Val Kilmer documentary?
Yeah.
Earl was just talking about it.
Man,
His son
yeah.
looks and sounds so much like him. Because his son also helped narrate.
Is his son an actor as well?
Doesn't
know
it
if the
help you
narrator-
understand him so much better?
So much. That's why when I saw in the Top Gun Maverick him doing this and how
They didn't pull any punches with it.
how difficult it was for him to do this. It took a lot for him to get out into the public to do that.
Yeah.
And then again, when I was talking about the synthetic narration, that he helped develop that software that makes him sound like him.
I
Well,
love that
you could tell that it was hard just by his makeup. Was like the sweat coming through his makeup
He was
and everything
nervous.
else.
He hasn't been out in public in
No, I get it. I mean, I'm just saying, like it's just
And then
you
just
could tell
standing in front
that.
of Tom Cruise of all people.
Are
Right.
so are you two the only two that haven't?
Correct.
You seen it, Jeff?
You need to watch it.
You didn't see it? Oh, I saw it. Good.
I liked that as far as the character. I like that ICE stayed loyal to Mav through all this time,
Love
even
it.
though they were antagonists.
Pulling all the strings behind the curtain.
Yeah. How are you still here? Well, and because that was my next, like, how is he not an admiral? How is he still in? How the heck has he not been drummed out or retired or promoted or something? Well, because he wanted to stay a pilot and ICE let him do it.
Yeah, realistically.
Of course not. That fucker is too old.
Well,
Well, go ahead.
it's regulations that you have to retire or get out at a certain age.
He's above that age right now.
What's his name that showed up at the airfield to shut the whole system down?
Okay.
He's older than all of them.
I
And
know.
he was the one. I was like,
You know what's funny is
Jay.
I turned to Rob. I said, "Who's older, Tom Cruise or
Ed Harris.
Or Ed Harris?" Like I don't know.
They
Pretty
might
sure
be
Tom
close.
Cruise is older than Ed Harris.
But Ed is aged naturally.
Yeah.
Tom has sold his soul to an alien.
That we know of.
Ed Harris is a super.
Oh, Oklahoma.
I knew
He
that.
went to Norman. He went
But I mean, people that have a chance, you're a captain after over 35, 36 years. Yeah.
Well, plus the Ed, I thought Ed was going to play a bigger part, but he did the Tolkien bit in the first one.
Yeah.
He's there for a little bit, sends him on, and the speech was nearly identical. I can't believe I have to say this to you, but you're going back to Top Gun, and Tom's like, what?
Again?
Again?
never
It did definitely had its moments,
It was
but
good.
even though it was entertaining and it was visually spectacular,
Oh,
and the
I don't
kids did a
remember
good job
this.
as far as their character
Everything
concerned.
is
My most enjoyable moment was let's Iron Eagle the shit out of this thing.
now.
And I'm sorry, that was my
Should
most
have been a-
enjoyable
should
bit of
have
the
been
whole
a
film.
Should have been a
Line. The walk in the park, Kazansky.
All right.
Mac.